What's up, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Zane. Today I'll be talking about Formula One. I love it. My favorite sport. Hands down, Formula One's my favorite sport. I watch it all the time. But after the Austrian Grand Prix and everything that happened in it, the chaos, the Max Verstappen winning the race, and from everything that happened from start to finish, and then after hearing everyone's reaction to the Grand Prix and taking it all in from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, I figured it's time for me to say my opinion. Yeah. Basically, I've had enough. I've honestly had enough. Not too long ago, we were complaining that there wasn't enough overtakes. There wasn't enough overtakes. Like a few races ago, we were complaining that there wasn't enough overtakes. Suddenly, I hear people complaining that there were too many overtakes in France on the long straight. I'm like, what the fuck? That's my honest opinion, is what the fuck? First, everyone complains that there wasn't enough overtake. There wasn't enough overtake in Canada. Canada was a horrible race. Canada usually a good race. And then suddenly you go to France and it's an amazing race. A lot more overtaking than you'd ever expect. And everyone started complaining that there were too many overtakes. I was like, what the fuck do you want? Honestly, to the fan base, what the fuck do you want? This channel is going to be about me defending things that no one else agrees with. That I, of course, agree with, Yes, I agree that there wasn't enough overtakes on some tracks and the cars need to be better at overtaking or following each other. But I will not overtake when there's when there's a lot of overtaking. I can't complain because I love that. It makes the cars easier to overtake other cars. That brings out a better race. And then suddenly people complain about the French Grand Prix that there was too many overtakes on a long straight. I was like, whoa. Are you insane? You've got to be out of your mind. That's not the only thing that we've got to complain about, because honestly, Max Verstappen won the Austrian Grand Prix, first win at the Red Bull track, and it was won by Max Verstappen. Now, everyone's, some people's opinions have changed about Max Verstappen. Some people's opinions have remained the same. I've always said that he's a young driver. He's going to have a hard time, and he's going to pick himself back up. He's got amazing talent. He's not going to give up. And some people were saying, he should leave the sport. He should get fired. He should change his driving style. And in the last few races, he's done extremely well, including winning the Austrian Grand Prix, his first win in 2018. That seems to shut everyone up. He also had immense support at the Austrian Grand Prix. Everyone in orange was supporting Max Verstappen. That was really great. But nevertheless, 1 minute people are against the guy, and when he proves himself, everyone is back on Max Verstappen team. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So you're telling me when he was having a hard time, you didn't help him to get better. You just complain that he's a horrible driver, which he's not. And then when he pulls off an amazing race in Austria, everyone is like, yeah, Max, we love Max. I'm like, weren't y'all the same people who were saying that he's a horrible driver, he should change his driving style and do this and do that, and now you're on Team Max? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Make up your mind what you want and stick with the drivers you've chosen. You can't be switching teams like it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Listen, and in the Austrian Grand Prix as well, the most amazing overtake, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but it's up to you to decide as well. But in my mind, the most amazing overtake was when Bottas overtake Max Verstappen and Kimi Räikkönen on the outside. Yeah, the outside of turn 4 on the Austrian Grand Prix to gain back second position. That's the most amazing overtake in the race, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong about this. Everyone's saying, the best overtake was when Vettel overtake Hamilton. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. I'll explain why. That overtake with Hamilton and, Vettel overtaking Hamilton lasted 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Everyone's acting as if they were going back and forth, like it was 2016 Bahrain with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. It wasn't that. It was 2 seconds, and Vettel was passed. Clean overtake. It was great. Great job by Vettel. Hamilton was losing speed anyway. He said he was losing power, right? But everyone's acting like, oh, it was just amazing overtake. No, it was an amazing overtake. There were better overtakes in the race. Why is no one talking about the better overtakes in the race when there were over 70 overtakes in the race and everyone's talking about this one when it only lasts 2 seconds? Alonso started on the pit lane, made it to P10, and no one's talking about his overtakes, but everyone's talking about the overtakes with Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. As if it lasted a couple of seconds. It was like that. Clean overtake. It was like that. It wasn't impressive. It was not impressive. It was not impressive in my opinion. It wasn't impressive enough for people to be going crazy saying, oh, that was amazing. 2 champions going head to head. They weren't going head to head. Hamilton knew he has nothing to gain in that overtake. Hamilton was like, yeah, you can go straight through because I'm losing power anyway. He told Mercedes on the radio, I'm losing power. So he knew that overtake was coming and he just let the guy go through. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't let the guy go through, he's going to be losing time. Vettel is going to be losing time. They're just going to hold each other up. Hamilton was like, if you've got the power, then here you go. It wasn't that impressive. I've got millions of more things to complain about. Honestly, millions of more things to complain about. Now, people are complaining that Hamilton was on the radio being too aggressive or, not being very nice, because he was complaining. Of course he was complaining. Of course he was complaining. Everyone pit. Everyone in the top league. And other teams pit as well. They use the opportunity. This virtual safety car saves you a lot of time when pitting. It saves you a lot of time. A lot of time. Like 40 or 35% of time. It saves you a lot of time. So if this is your only opportunity to pit. Mercedes did not, so obviously Hamilton was pissed off because he cannot gain 8 seconds out of those tires when they were already graining, when they were already burned out. He said it himself on the radio, mate, I can't gain 8 seconds out of these tires. You guys should have pulled me in. And everyone's like, oh, Hamilton's complaining once again. I don't understand. Why is no one complaining when Alonso complained? Why is no one having a go when Alonso complained? Because Alonso was like, mate, we better change up the strategy because if we don't, we're not going to be here in the race for 70 laps or something. No one's complaining about that. Whenever Alonso or Raikkonen complains, no one says anything. In fact, they praise those drivers for complaining. They make memes, they make jokes, they praise them, they say it's okay. But whenever Hamilton complains or Vettel complains, they pick on Hamilton and Vettel. I don't get it. Make up your mind. Stop being hypocrites. Stop being fools. Make up your mind. It's honestly frustrating. It's honestly frustrating. Hamilton lost the opportunity to win the race. In his eyes, if Mercedes pit him, he could have won the race. But then again, his car broke down, which they could not have predicted. Hamilton didn't have predicted it. He couldn't have. Mercedes couldn't have predicted it. So they didn't know at that point that the car was going to break down. So obviously he wanted to pit to still stay in the lead to win the race. But he lost the opportunity. So obviously he's going to be pissed off. Obviously, he's going to be really pissed off because at that point, he knows he's lost the race when it was an easy win if they had just pit the guy. Bruh. And that safety car as well. That virtual safety car. I've seen a lot of other cars pulling over to the sides. There wasn't a virtual safety car. No, apparently you don't need a virtual safety car. But when Bottas pull over in the rundown area to go straight off the track, apparently you need a safety car for that. Which makes no bloody sense. But, yeah. There's a lot of things to complain about. There's a lot of things to complain about. and I'm here to defend everyone. You know, I'm here to defend everyone. I hope people stop picking on Max by now, because what F1 fans don't know is that it's not perfect. It's not perfect. They expect these drivers to be perfect, best behavior. It's not perfect. You're not perfect. They're not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And if it was perfect, you'll be complaining that you don't see anything. F1 isn't real anymore. You don't see the drivers getting upset like they used to do in the old days. Yeah. Basically, if F1 fans ask for something and they get it, they complain. If they don't get it, they complain. If they get it, they complain. I don't understand. Not every fan does this, but because of the rise in social media, it gives everyone a voice. It's okay to have a voice. Everyone should have a voice. But you get to realize that people don't know what they want. Because one minute they say they want this, the next minute they don't. And I'm like, what in the world do you want? Now, apparently there was over 70 overtakes on the Austrian Grand Prix. Over 70 overtakes. I saw about 20 or 25. What's going on? What is going on, Sky? What's going on, All Fours? What's going on? You can't just focus on people at the top of the, you know, the top drivers and the top teams. You got to focus on the back end of the teams as well. You got to show us the overtakes. Alonso went up to 10th from the pit lane, and I barely saw his overtakes. I saw must have been one or two. I didn't see most of his overtakes. What's going on? And yet there are people complaining that there isn't any overtake when we're not seeing all the overtakes. I mean, come on. Now you may be saying, this job to show all of the overtakes must be harder than it looks. Yeah, it probably is harder than it looks to manage what millions of people are seeing on the TV, all the overtakes and everything. But why show us a race where two cars are not about to overtake when you can show us other people who are switching, who are overtaking constantly and switching? Why not show us that? And if we do miss an overtake by a 2 out of 10 chance, then you can just show us a replay. Please, you'd like to do that all the time, so why not show us a replay when there's a brilliant overtake that we suddenly miss? But instead of waiting for the opportunity, you instead don't show us the overtake. Yeah. It's not the best. It's not the best. It's really not the best. It's not the best. And like he said, you know, another thing I want to talk about is Valtteri Bottas. Amazing driver. Amazing driver. Got himself on pole for the second time. The second time. Last year he was on pole. This time he's on pole. And the guy has a bit of bad luck right now. And I do feel sorry for him because he's an amazing driver. And since Canada, he's been aggressive. Canada, he was aggressive with Verstappen. He was challenging Verstappen, and Verstappen was like, whoa, is this Bottas or is this Lewis? Yeah, Bottas is stepping up his game. And now in Austria, he was challenging again. He started in first, bad start. Raikkonen went up on the inside. Hamilton controlled it from the Hamilton was on the inside. Raikkonen was in the middle, and Hamilton controlled the braking zone and managed to carry it out in the first place. Bottas went down to fourth, and then he made the amazing return, overtaking two of the best drivers on the grid in turn 4, I think it was. That's my highlight of the best, because at that point we didn't expect it at all. Yeah, Toto Wolff was happy. He was like, yes, and I was like, yes. I was happy as well because it's nothing I've seen before from Bottas. It was absolutely amazing, and you got to have a lot of balls to outbrake Raikkonen and Verstappen, overtake them successfully on the outside without being thrown off into the gravel. Oh my days, that was an amazing overtake. That's what people should be talking about. But instead, people are talking about the 2 seconds that Vettel overtook Hamilton, and it was easy as slicing a cake. You know, just slice a cake, easy as that. And people are like, oh, it's an amazing overtake. We haven't seen this in a long time. Oh, that was amazing. No, not really. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. You know what was amazing? 2016, Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Now, yeah, they were switching and switching and switching and switching. It was crazy. Anyway, back onto Valtteri Bottas. You know, last year, everyone was complaining like, this guy is not he's not good enough to be in the Mercedes. I was like, shut up. From the moment he stepped into that car, I knew he was the man for the job, and I'll explain why. You got Raikkonen, who's a champion, who's a world champion. This guy's actually won a world championship. Raikkonen. Yeah. Raikkonen won a world championship. And yet last year, he had one pole. His own team let the other guy go in front, which was Vettel. His own team took the race win away from him. That must be painful. That's not the only thing, but no wins, no other pole position, and yet he had the same car as Vettel. And it was an indeed amazingly fast car, amazingly quick. But yet, Valtteri Bottas was getting pole at some points in last year, and he was winning races as well. Russia, Abu Dhabi, he had pole in Brazil. He was doing great. He was doing amazing, much better than Raikkonen, right? So people were complaining that he wasn't doing well. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Do you expect him to beat Lewis Hamilton and Vettel? Are you insane? Are you actually insane? You must be out of your mind. Yeah, you must be out of your mind. If Kimi Raikkonen cannot beat Lewis Hamilton and Vettel, how do you expect Valtteri Bottas to do it in his first year in the new car last year? Doesn't make any sense. And yet the guy still did well, and he almost catched Vettel in the championship. Almost. And he did better than Kimi Raikkonen. Yeah, and yet people were complaining. I'm like, what are you complaining about? He did amazing. He did amazing last year. Getting pole position, race win, podiums. He did amazing. And this year, he was doing even more amazing, but there's been a bit of a bad luck. He's had lots of bad luck all through the year, but yet he's been amazing. If it wasn't for the bad luck, he'd probably be leading the championship or in second place or third. Now he's in 6th or 5th, I think it is. But yeah, because the car broke down and he lost the Austrian Grand Prix. So did Lewis, lost the Austrian Grand Prix. But Valtteri Bottas is an amazing driver, and he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. He deserves a lot of credit, and he doesn't get it. It's only now everyone's, some people are saying, he's probably a good driver. And I'm like, you're full of shit. You're honestly full of shit. Since he was with Williams, he's always been a good driver. Clean driver. Great driver. And Mercedes decided to give him the opportunity, and he proved himself. He proved himself worthy of that seat. And this year, he's even doing better, in my opinion, because he's actually more aggressive. And he was out qualifying Hamilton in some tracks. China, which is Hamilton's track, he out qualified Hamilton and finished ahead of Hamilton on a track that was made for Hamilton. Canada, he out qualified Hamilton, finished ahead of Hamilton. Bahrain, he out qualified Hamilton and finished ahead of who? Hamilton. And yet people are complaining about this guy. Are you insane? Are you insane? fair play, he hasn't got any wins yet, but he was on it. He almost had this Austrian win. He almost had the win in Baku, but there was debris on the track. He accidentally drove over it, and I gotta say, almost any driver on the grid could have made that mistake, because when you're going over 220 miles per hour, you can't see shit. You got to be an extremely trained and extremely experienced driver to avoid debris, and it depends on how big and how small it is. That could have happened to almost anyone on the track. So yeah, F1 fan base can be very critical sometimes, and they don't look at things properly. They don't look at things from the driver's perspective and say, hold on, this job is actually not that easy. This job is a hard job. When they're in the car, they don't care what they say, because the adrenaline, all they care about is winning. They don't care what you think. All they care about is the adrenaline. So when Vettel is complaining, Raikkonen is complaining, Alonso is complaining, or Lewis is complaining, it doesn't matter, because to them, they got the adrenaline. They're focused on the race. They don't care about what you think at home. Who gives a fuck about that? They care about winning the race. And when they're upset, they complain, because they're human beings just like you and I. And when we're unhappy, we complain. I complain. You complain sometimes. And yet you get upset when F1 drivers complain. And yet they're doing one of the most dangerous jobs, driving that car around that track at over 200 miles per hour. No traction control. Manual gear shifts. Yeah, and you're complaining. You think it's easy to drive that car around a track when everyone else behind you is hunting you down, and you are hot, you're sweating, uncomfortable. You can't, if you got an itch on your head, you can't scratch yourself. If you got an itch anywhere on your body, you can't scratch yourself. You got to focus on the race. You have no idea what it's like to be a Formula 1 driver, and yet you complain. Shut the fuck up and take a look at yourself. And put yourself into the driver's shoe, because that job is harder than it fucking looks. And there's a lot of people out there who wouldn't have the balls to get up and do that job, because the physical demands. You got to train. You got to read a 50-page manual on how to work the steering wheel alone. The steering wheel alone, 50-page manual. Read it, know it, back to back, know it well. You got to know that, and you got to have your fitness standards have got to be high. Your reaction has got to be high. Everything about you has got to be perfect. A lot of you haven't got the balls to do that. Yeah, so stop complaining about Formula 1 drivers, having a rough day, because of course they do. They got a hard job, so of course they have bad days and they have good days. So stop complaining and stop picking on F1 drivers. I mean, come on. It's honestly like, these are some of the things that I've always wanted to just complain about. Just complain about and complain about. It's honestly ridiculous. And you know what? Before the season started, everyone was complaining about the halo. The halo. In the last 3 races, I haven't heard anyone complain about the fucking halo. I've heard no one complain about the fucking halo in the last 3 races. The last time I heard someone complain about the halo, in fact, the last time I heard someone mention the halo was in GP2. It was in either GP2 or GP3, where a driver said he got saved by the halo, and there's no guarantee if he did or if he didn't. And in Canada, when I think it was, I can't remember, basically Stroll crashed into another driver, and the driver hit his head against the halo, and people talked about the halo. Those are the only time people talk about the halo, when it comes up. If it doesn't come up, people don't even notice the halo anymore, and yet they were complaining before the halo went on the car. So you see, something as simple as that disappears once the light goes out. Light goes out, the race starts, you don't remember the halo. We don't give a fuck about the halo. But yeah, people are complaining about it. And now we don't give a fuck. because we noticed that it doesn't affect us watching the fucking race. Obviously, the race is still there. You can still watch the fucking race. The halo doesn't affect anything. So these are some of the things I wanted to complain about, because it's honestly got on my nerve just how ridiculous some people and their opinions are. If you agree with me, subscribe. If you don't agree with me, leave a comment. Leave a comment. Let's have a conversation. Let's get on the same page. Try to understand what I'm saying is that these drivers are not there to please you. They're not there to please you. They're there to win race, win championships, and show off a good race. But not there to please you. Not there to be the perfect angel you think they might be, because they're not. They're human beings just like me and you. Just like me and you. Honestly. They're not immortal gods. They're just like me and you. They make mistakes. They swear. They get upset. They complain. They're just like me and you. Stop having a go at them. Stop bullying them. Stop picking on them. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. It's only going to make situation worse. You can see from Max Verstappen, when everyone was complaining that he's a terrible driver, he keeps on crashing. What did Max said in the interview? If people keep on asking him questions, he's going to headbutt someone, because that's how upset he gets when people complain. You're the people who want to see a good race, and you're complaining like you don't want these brilliant drivers to be in the race. If these brilliant drivers are not a part of Formula One, there will be no Formula One. If there's no Vettel, no Hamilton, no Verstappen, there wouldn't be a fucking Formula One. This race has to keep interesting. If they kept everything closed door and the drivers don't complain, they don't get upset, they don't show anger, they don't give their honest opinion, we'll get upset and we'll be like, oh, why are they not giving their honest opinion? Why are they just putting on a happy face? But yet when they give us their honest opinion, when they complain, when they be human, when they give us the straight opinion, we complain that, oh, they're complaining. They're doing this, they're doing that, we don't like what they have to say. But when they don't do, you complain anyway. Either way, you still complain. It's honestly really frustrating. This was my rant. This was my bloody rant for this channel. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. And I have a lot more to complain about. I have a lot more to complain about. A lot more to complain about. Basically, this video is all about leave the drivers alone. Let them do their jobs. Stop expecting them to please you. Stop expecting them to be perfect. They're not. They're just like me and you. Just enjoy the race. Stop being dickheads whenever drivers mess up. Whenever Max mess up, stop being dickheads. Whenever a driver mess up, stop being dickheads. Whenever Lewis or Vettel mess up, stop being dickheads. Just try to understand that they're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one, okay? Oh, by the way, one more thing. When a driver radio in to their engineer and they complain about something to do with the car, it's because they're supposed to. They're driving a car. They're supposed to tell the engineer if something is wrong, if they think something is wrong. If they don't feel like something is right, they're supposed to let the engineers and the teams know what's going on. Because if they don't do this, then they'll lose the race because they haven't dealt with the problem. It's a teamwork. They have to tell the engineers what's going on. And then you see it as someone complaining. They're not complaining. They're just being honest and saying, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right. Let's try and fix the problem. They're not complaining. They're just being human. They're just doing their job, what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to give their teams as much information as possible. The more information that they give to their team is the more the team will be able to help them to win the fucking race. So stop complaining that drivers are always complaining what's going on with the car. They're supposed to tell the teams what the fuck is going on with the car. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.